Okay, so there was this one time where I was a dungeon master at a table, and I was fired from it. Let's talk about it. Hi everybody, my name is Justin. Welcome to Game On, the show all about tabletop gaming, from RPGs to board games and everything in between. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit of an RPG horror story. Luckily I don't have too many of those, but I do have one as a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons DM, where I was kicked from a table as the dungeon master, and I want to tell you a little bit of a story about why that happened. So I was on Roll20, but this wasn't at a real table, this was at a virtual Roll20 table, and there was this group early 2016, like maybe January of 2016, where they were a group of friends who were looking for a dungeon master. The only thing that they were saying was that they just required somebody who could do Saturday nights, and every other Saturday night, somebody who could do something with dragons. That's what they wanted. And I was like, I have this interesting homebrewed version of Rise of Tiamat. I kind of pitched it to them, and they thought it was great. I started running that game, and it went pretty darn well for the first couple of levels. We started at level 1. That's what they requested, so that's what we did. We started level 1 and we got to level 4. And what they were trying to do was find a sage who could help stop the dragon cult from getting certain magic items. I had given them 2 options. I will say that it's probably partially my fault that I gave them another option that I wrote in my homebrew module. They were looking for a sage. There was one that was out in the middle of the woods. They would have to go through a couple, I forget where it was on the 5e Sword Coast map. It was a little bit inwards. And the other one was in Hillsfar, but I made clear to them that since you guys are a party of all non-humans, Hillsfar has the law of humanity. You're not really supposed to be there. I don't do the whole racism thing where they can't go, but they're going to be treated differently there. And the sage in the woods is actually the easier one to go to. It was closer. They had almost a direct way to get there. But they decided that this group of 5 non-human players really latched on the idea of going to Hillsfar because they really wanted to go to a city that none of the players had really gone to before. So I made incredibly clear just out of game. I said, hey guys, here's the lore of Hillsfar. I sent them like a wiki dot or something of it, whereas like the law of humanity states that you're not really supposed to go there if you're not a human. And I made sure that they knew that. I said, I'm going to let you go in to the city, but you're going to be asked to check your weapons at the door. You're not going to be given all the right privacies that a human would, and you're gonna be watched. It's not like you're going to have somebody tailing you every single second of the day, but the guards are going to be a little bit more, perceptive of a group of 5 non-humans walking around the city. And they all agreed. They all said, okay, we understand. So they got to Hillsfar and they checked in their weapons. No problems, I was like, okay. I was trying to role play the true history of the city, but also not, go through the undertones of racism that was kind of written into that backstory of Hillsfar. And they basically did the worst thing they could possibly do, and that is they went to the market and they tried to steal something. The group decided as a whole that they wanted one of the weapons that they saw. It wasn't really anything fancy. It was a weapon that was like, the hilt was molded out of bone. I rolled it on like a random treasure loot table that I had, and the lizard folk really wanted this bone hilt sword. Nothing fancy, it wasn't magic or anything. And the halfling rogue goes in and rolls a 2 on their stealth check. Which, of course, as you probably know, 2 for halfling is the worst thing that you can roll. And they were caught. There were a bunch of guards in this open-air market who noticed that they were trying to steal something, and there was no way to really get out of that 2 that he rolled in broad daylight. I warned them multiple times that this probably wasn't the best idea to try to steal something, but hey, they went with it anyway. And instead of throwing them in jail, I kind of put them in a gladiator-style pit that I had written in this already. I had said, hills for, prisoners don't have to necessarily go to dungeon. They can go to a kind of a fighting pit, and they can win their freedom. And the players didn't like this. They're like, don't lock us up. And I'm like, guys, you literally broke the rules, and I've told you a couple of times not to do that. And they're like, fine, we'll go. So they fought in one kind of gladiator combat, and they actually enjoyed themselves because they really wanted some combat. And the second night that they were in their encampment, basically I gave them a building where they sleep in and they live in, and they're under lock and key, but they have some autonomy. And I knew that they needed to get out of there, so I gave them a soldier, like a guard, who was sympathetic to their cause. And he told them, hey, in the middle of the night, I'm going to come, bring you some weapons, and then help get you out of here. You will find all your equipment in a sewer grate just on the outside of the wall. I'm going to get you there. And the players were like, he is lying to us. So in the middle of the night, when he comes in to tell them, they kill him. He was my way of getting them out of there. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to take a drink break. I went to go use the bathroom, get some water. And I was like, they killed one of their outs. Quickly a follow up to that, they then had one more battle where I had a lizard folk shaman. He's kind of the one who does all of their he takes care of all of the gladiators and fighters who get hurt. Basically, another out that I was going to use. So I had him talk to the player characters and say, I can get you out of here. I've been here for 30 years. I know what it's like. I know every inch, nook and cranny of this place. I can get you out. Come to my cell in the middle of the night and I'll get you there. So they go, and in the middle of the night, they go to his place. He's like, I'm glad you came. I'm going to help get you out of here. I'm also sympathetic to your cause. And they killed him. We had a monk in the party who was just able to just wail on this guy. And I was kind of left shocked, because for the second time in a row where I was trying to help get the players out of being in prison, which they didn't like, they killed both of their ways to get out of there. And I was like, okay guys, for now, we're going to take a break. I'll see you in 2 weeks, and we'll go from there. That was the end of the session. And about a week later, all of them sent me a message on Discord. No, not Discord, I'm sorry. I think we're on TeamSpeak at this point. And they all sent me a copy and pasted message saying, you're not a good DM. You keep us locked up. Players shouldn't be prisoners in their own game. You shouldn't have let us, not be able to get out of this predicament. You shouldn't have put us in this predicament to begin with. We're firing you as a DM. And I got kicked from that game, locked out of it. And I was sitting there I did everything that I knew I could to help them. And I tried to make sure that they knew not to get into that predicament in the first place. So I got fired. on Roll20 as a D&D DM because apparently I wasn't a good enough DM for them because I put them in jail. Anyway, do you guys have any funny stories like that as a DM or even as a player? I don't consider myself at fault for this. This is just players being crappy players. Thank you guys very much for watching. Again, in the comments, let us know if you've had anything like this happen. I thank you all very much for watching. My name is Justin from the bottom of my heart. I thank you all. Now grab some dice, a character sheet, and game on.